depression, and people are talking about, oh my God, it's a big problem running rampant. And here's the reason why it's running rampant, right? It's because we don't know what it really is.
Nobody expected the season 9 finale reunion to explode the way it did. Fans were ready for heated arguments, raised voices, and the usual reality TV chaos. But what they weren't prepared for was the silence that followed. The kind of silence that feels heavier than shouting. The kind that makes you realize something serious just happened.
Trips. So the thing is this, you've been on plenty of girls' trips with your cast. Why are girl trips so complicated? Because there's a whole TikTok discussion, Dr. Heavenly, about this episode and how this episode reflects how girls' trips never go right. Why is that?
Because half them hoes really don't like each other. And to me, it's never fair. It's all about who you like and who you don't like. Like, to me, if I like Melody, I'm going to say that she didn't fuck up them rooms on purpose. But if I don't like Melody, I'm like, look, she knew what room she put them in. Because Destiny, she clearly don't like. Because that's Martell's friend. And she put them in. So it's all about who you like and who you don't like. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Because when Marsau Scott finally spoke up, it wasn't for cameras. It wasn't for drama. It was personal. And once the truth started leaking out, it became clear that this reunion wasn't just another episode. It was a breaking point. Behind the polished stage, bright lights, and rehearsed talking points, something cracked. A relationship that had been built over years was suddenly hanging by a thread. Trust was questioned, loyalty was tested, and Carlos King, the man who built the show, found himself at the center of allegations no one saw coming. But here's the twist. Marsau wasn't trying to destroy the show. He was trying to protect something much bigger than ratings.
Listen, this show means a lot to Melissa in a very different way of what it means to Teresa. I think, to your point, listen, I think anybody who watches the show can see that Melissa wants to be the top dog, and she has trouble with Teresa constantly winning in the end. And this, I'm gonna tell you, it was the season where Danielle Staub, one of my favorites of all time.
Yes,
it was the season where Danielle Staub, unfortunately, Melissa, like, Teresa told me to pull the hair. What I saw was this excitement of Melissa getting the tea. Like, well, she did what? And I think in Melissa's mind, she was like, oh, baby, it's going down.
To understand why this moment mattered so much, you have to go back to who Marsau Scott was before reality TV. Before the fame, before the criticism, before every move he made was analyzed online. Marsau came into Love and Marriage Huntsville as a businessman first. He wasn't chasing celebrity, he was building a legacy. A husband, a father, a developer trying to balance ambition with family. And from the beginning, Carlos King positioned himself as someone Marsau could trust. Someone who understood the vision of showcasing Black excellence, Black marriage, and Black success.
Good, okay? So, in case you missed the other live earlier, I need a bag, so I had to... So in real life, I always call Marlo, okay? I always call Marlo when I'm out shopping because she is my person. So, y'all get a chance to see who I am in my real life, not stuff you hear about.
For years, Marsau defended the show, even when fans questioned storylines, even when critics accused the production of stirring unnecessary drama. He stayed quiet. He played his role. He believed that disagreements were part of the process. But what nobody saw was how much pressure he was under behind the scenes. How often were personal conversations turned into plot points? How moments meant to stay private somehow made their way into edits that told a very different story.
Do you think Melody purposefully did the rooms like that because she don't like some of the girls?
No, I think that you did that rooms like that because
Well,
you don't like the girls
I can tell
and to make
you.
it even more messy.
I can tell you that didn't happen.
I'm just fucking with you, baby. I'm just playing. Don't get all that. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I got, look. I got real nail on you, baby.
Marsau wasn't naive. He knew reality TV wasn't real life, but he believed some lines wouldn't be crossed. Family lines, marriage lines, reputation lines. And for a long time, he thought Carlos respected that. Until season 9. As filming progressed, Marsau started noticing things that didn't sit right. Conversations felt pushed in certain directions. Conflicts that were resolved off camera mysteriously resurfaced on screen. Situations that had nothing to do with him somehow circled back to his marriage. And each time, the same explanation came up. It's good for the show.
Keep it all the way real on this podcast today because I am pissed. Robin admitting that she hid her story from the world on the show that pays you is a slap in the face to everyone involved, including the audience. And the fact that you have the audacity to go on your podcast to reveal this. We spent this entire half-assed season with these made-up storylines about Chris Bassett. And yes, I'm gonna say made up because I allegedly was told that a few of the housewives had a meeting before filming about what the storyline was going to be, and that this Chris Bassett stuff was part of that conversation. I've always said there was something off about this season, and now I know what it is. None of y'all are.
But here's where the tension really started. Marsau wasn't just dealing with storylines anymore. He was dealing with perception. His wife, his children, his business partners were all feeling the impact. And when he tried to address it privately, he felt dismissed. According to insiders, Marsau began to feel like he was no longer a person. He was a character, a tool, a storyline generator. The reunion was supposed to clear the air. That's what reunions are for: closure, accountability, truth. But instead, it became the moment everything spilled out. What viewers didn't see was what happened before the cameras rolled. Marsau had already raised concerns. He questioned why certain topics were being revisited. He asked why boundaries he clearly set were ignored. And the response he allegedly received changed everything. It wasn't reassurance. It wasn't compromise. It was resistance. Sources say Marsau felt cornered, not by cast members, but by production, by Carlos himself. When the reunion began, Marsau stayed calm. Too calm. Fans noticed it immediately. He wasn't reactive, he wasn't defensive, he was observing, waiting. And then came the questions that felt less like conversation and more like traps. Questions that reframed his intentions. Questions that subtly painted him in a negative light without saying it outright. And that's when Marsau realized this wasn't about resolving anything. It was about control. Here's the part that shocked even longtime fans. Marsau didn't explode. He didn't yell. He didn't storm off. Instead, he started exposing patterns, quietly, carefully. He spoke about how narratives were created, how scenes were cut, how context was removed, and how certain cast members were protected while others were left to take the heat. Carlos, for the first time, looked uncomfortable. What nobody expected was how specific Marsau got. He referenced conversations that never aired, moments where he was encouraged to react more aggressively, situations where producers allegedly pushed for tension even after things were resolved. And when Marsau mentioned that his real life was being twisted for entertainment, the room shifted. This wasn't just about him anymore. Other cast members went silent. Some avoided eye contact, because deep down, they knew exactly what he was talking about. And then came the betrayal. Marsau revealed that he trusted Carlos, that he believed their conversations were off limits, that certain topics discussed in confidence would never be used against him. But at the reunion, those same topics were suddenly center stage, reframed, weaponized. That's when Marsau made it clear this wasn't accidental, this was intentional. The emotional weight of that moment can't be overstated. Imagine realizing that someone you trusted with your real life was willing to sacrifice it for a storyline. Imagine watching your marriage be dissected, not for truth, but for engagement. And imagine knowing that once the episode airs, the damage can't be undone. Marsau didn't just expose production tactics, he exposed how it felt to lose trust in someone who claimed to have your back. The fallout didn't end on that stage. After the reunion wrapped, sources say tensions escalated backstage, words were exchanged, boundaries were reinforced, and relationships were permanently changed. Marsau reportedly made it clear that if things continued this way, he would walk away, not just from the reunion, but from the show entirely. That sent shockwaves through production, because Marsau Scott isn't just a cast member, he's a pillar. His presence grounds the show, his marriage anchors it, and losing him wouldn't just change storylines, it would change the identity of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Carlos, for his part, has built a reputation as a mastermind, someone who knows how to turn moments into must-watch TV. But this time, that strategy may have gone too far. Fans immediately picked up on the tension. Social media lit up with questions. Why did the reunion feel different? Why did Marsau seem done? The emotional impact rippled beyond television. Marsau's family felt it. His wife felt it. Being placed under a microscope is one thing. Feeling betrayed is another. According to people close to him, Marsau questioned whether staying on the show was worth the emotional cost, whether protecting his family meant stepping away from the spotlight altogether. This wasn't about ego, it was about self-respect. For years, viewers accused Marsau of being guarded, of holding back. But after season 9, it became clear why. When trust is broken once, you learn to protect yourself. And Marsau wasn't willing to let his family become collateral damage. The reunion exposed more than drama. It exposed a power struggle. Who controls the narrative? Who decides what truth looks like? And at what point does entertainment cross into exploitation? As fans debated online, one thing became obvious. This situation changed how people viewed Carlos King. The producer who once seemed untouchable now was being questioned, his methods, his intentions, his loyalty. And the biggest question remains unanswered. Can Love and Marriage Huntsville survive if cast members no longer trust the person running the show? Or is this the beginning of a major shift? Marsau hasn't confirmed his next move, but his silence speaks volumes. Sometimes walking away is louder than any argument. Sometimes exposing the truth isn't about shouting, it's about refusing to play the game anymore. What started as a reunion ended as a reckoning, and while the cameras stopped rolling, the consequences are still unfolding. Alliances are shifting, contracts are being reconsidered, and the future of the show hangs in the balance. Because when someone finally pulls back the curtain, you can't pretend you didn't see what was behind it. And trust me, this story isn't over yet.